we're trapped. And the strangest part? Most of us don't even realize it. Every tap, every swipe, every scroll, it feels like freedom. We believe we're exploring, choosing, expressing. But in truth, we're being guided, algorithmically nudged, psychologically engineered. The digital world we live in wasn't designed to liberate us. It was carefully, meticulously constructed to capture us. Not just our time or attention, but our desires, our identities, our sense of reality. This isn't just about technology. It's about the philosophy of control. About how modern society has created an invisible architecture of influence so seamless, so seductive, that we mistake it for our own will. But I want you to ask yourself something. When was the last time you had a thought that wasn't filtered, shaped, or nudged by a screen? If you struggle to answer, you're not alone. And you're not broken. You're just living inside a system designed to keep you comfortable, distracted, and predictable. Let's go back, not to the creation of the internet, but to the creation of the human mind. We evolved to seek patterns, to scan for danger, to crave social approval. These instincts kept us alive, but the digital world exploits them. Notifications mimic the thrill of tribal recognition. Infinite scrolls hijack our search for novelty. Likes and shares mimic the dopamine we once earned through real connection. What began as tools to enhance life slowly became simulations of life itself. And somewhere along the way, we stopped asking why. Why do I open this app 23 times a day? Why do I feel anxious when I don't check it? Why does my self-worth feel tethered to numbers on a screen? These aren't random behaviors. They are the result of intentional design. Systems built not for your empowerment, but for your engagement. And engagement is just a euphemism for addiction. But here's the twist. This isn't just a technological crisis. It's a philosophical one. Because if your thoughts, your choices, your identity are being shaped by invisible systems, are you still free?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
That's the terrifying question we have to wrestle with. Are we autonomous beings or just highly reactive users inside a digital Skinner box? B.F. Skinner, the behaviorist who studied operant conditioning, experimented on pigeons to see how they reacted to rewards. He found that variable rewards, unpredictable, intermittent, were the most addictive. Sound familiar? That's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's YouTube. That's everything. You don't know what you'll get next, so you keep scrolling, keep refreshing, keep checking. You're not consuming content. You're being trained. And worse, you're training yourself. Because every time you give in, your brain rewires. Your patience shortens. Your need for stimulation increases. Your tolerance for boredom disappears. And this is where it gets dark. Boredom is not an inconvenience. It's the birthplace of creativity, the seed of introspection. Without it, your inner life dies slowly. So if you're always distracted, always stimulated, always plugged in, when do you actually meet yourself? Let's pull back even further. Philosophers from Socrates to Heidegger have warned us about losing the self in the noise of the world. Socrates feared the unexamined life. Heidegger warned about technological enframing, the idea that technology doesn't just serve us, it restructures how we see reality. And that's exactly what's happening now. Reality itself has become a feed. Our attention isn't being fought for, it's being harvested. And the cost isn't just our time, it's our inner lives, our ability to sit in silence, to wrestle with uncertainty, to wonder, to be. And this is where modern life becomes a philosophical paradox. We are more connected than ever, and yet more disconnected from ourselves. We have infinite information, but declining wisdom, endless expression, but shrinking authenticity. What do we do with that? How do we reclaim our minds from a system designed to bypass them? Because if we don't ask that, we're not just users, we're subjects. In a digital empire that feeds on our unconscious habits and sells them back to us as freedom. And here's where it gets truly existential. If your reality is filtered through screens, your relationships shaped by algorithms, your identity curated for engagement, who are you without the feed? Have you ever stepped away long enough to find out? Or are we all becoming hyper-stimulated ghosts of ourselves, so busy reacting to the next thing, we've forgotten how to respond to life? This isn't about deleting your apps or throwing your phone in a river. It's about awakening, about seeing the trap for what it is, not a cage of steel, but a cage of convenience. And like all effective cages, it's built to be invisible. That's the brilliance of it. You don't need bars when you have pleasure. You don't need chains when you have dopamine. You don't need guards when you've trained people to police themselves through likes, comments, and curated identities. So the question becomes, what's the cost of your convenience? And are you willing to pay it with your soul? The illusion of freedom. How the internet reprogrammed your will without you noticing. Freedom is the illusion most of us are addicted to. We believe we're free because we can choose between apps, between content, between personas. But what if that range of choices is itself a carefully designed mirage? What if freedom, in the digital age, has become something we feel rather than something we live? The philosopher Jean Baudrillard warned us about this with his idea of simulacra, copies of things that no longer have an original. And that's what digital freedom has become, a simulation of choice, a performance of autonomy. You feel like you're choosing what to watch, what to say, who to be. But beneath every decision is a hidden scaffolding of algorithms, data, and psychological manipulation. And the scariest part, the more we use these systems, the more our desires align with what they want us to want. Until eventually we're not choosing at all, we're predictable, repeatable, monetizable. Let's break that down. When you log onto any major platform, it already knows more about you than your closest friend. Your interests, your fears, your triggers, your sleep patterns, it's all there. Not because a person is watching you, but because the system is studying your will, studying how to shape it. And over time, it doesn't just respond to what you want, it teaches you what to want. Slowly, subtly, like a river carving a canyon. Think about it. When was the last time you felt a longing that didn't come from something you saw online? When was the last time you wanted something original, not because it was trending or viral or sponsored, but because it came from your inner life? If you can't remember, it's not your fault. It's systemic. The digital world isn't designed to reflect your soul. It's designed to redirect it, and it does so under the banner of freedom. But freedom without awareness is just the freedom to be manipulated. This is where we have to confront a terrifying but necessary truth. The internet has reprogrammed our will, not through force, but through frictionless design. Everything you do online is made easier when it aligns with what the system rewards. And everything that requires deep thought, resistance, or discomfort is slowly phased out. That's why the average attention span is shrinking, why long-form thinking is dying, why introspection feels like effort. Because the system doesn't benefit from your depth, it benefits from your impulse. We are being trained like lab rats to prefer the dopamine of distraction over the discipline of reflection. And the more we accept this, the more we forget what true freedom feels like. True freedom isn't comfortable. It's conscious. It requires effort. It requires doubt. It requires the ability to say, I see the path you've laid out for me, and I choose a different one. But how do we reclaim that will? How do we wake up from a dream we didn't know we were having? It begins with awareness, with the radical act of watching yourself watching, noticing the pull, the craving, the trap disguised as entertainment. It begins when you choose silence over stimulation, boredom over novelty, depth over speed. That's not easy. In fact, it might be the hardest thing you ever do, because we've been conditioned to believe that discomfort is failure. But discomfort is where your real self lives. It's the place the algorithms can't reach. The place where your desires start to unplug from the machine and reconnect with your humanity. And that's what this is really about, not just escaping distraction, but rediscovering who you are when no one is watching, when nothing is trending, when there is no one to perform for? What remains when the feed is gone? That's your truth. And you can either spend your life running from it, or you can spend your life returning to it. So the next time you reach for your phone out of habit, pause. The next time you feel that itch to scroll, to check, to escape, ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What feeling? What thought? What truth? Because every tap away from the present is a vote against your own consciousness. And no, you don't have to quit the internet or go live in a cave. But you do have to wake up. You have to start using these tools without letting them use you. Because the system will not stop. It's not evil. It's just indifferent. It's a machine. It doesn't care who you become, but you should. Because if you don't choose your mind, someone else will, and they already have. The return to self, how to reclaim your mind in a world that wants to own. If you've made it this far, you already know something most don't. The trap isn't just digital, it's existential. It's not just about escaping your phone. It's about reclaiming a part of yourself that's been slowly outsourced, pixel by pixel, byte by byte. We live in a world where the self has become a product, curated, optimized, broadcast. But the true self, the one that exists beneath performance, beneath productivity, beneath public perception, has been exiled. Reclaiming it isn't about deleting your apps. It's about remembering your original mind. The unfiltered, unmonetized, unedited mind that once wondered about the stars, about death, about love, about meaning, before you were trained to express yourself in hashtags and sound bites. The self that exists not for approval, but for truth. That self has been buried, not by malice, but by design. And yet it's still there, waiting, watching, whispering. The return to self begins with subtraction. Not adding more productivity hacks, more wellness routines, more digital detox retreats. It begins with less noise, less input, less need to be seen. Start small. 1 hour a day with no screen, no stimulation, just you. It will feel uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is the detox of the soul. It's the withdrawal from a world that taught you to fear your own thoughts. Let them come. Let the boredom rise. Let the silence stretch into something awkward and unfamiliar. Because on the other side of that silence is insight. You begin to hear what you've been drowning out. Your intuition, your old dreams, your unprocessed grief, your real questions. Questions that no algorithm can answer. Questions like, what do I actually want from this life? Who am I when I'm not performing? What would I do if no one could ever see it or like it? But it's not just about solitude. It's about sovereignty. You need to reclaim your will. That means choosing what to pay attention to, and knowing that attention is not cheap. It's your most sacred currency. Every ad, every video, every post competes for it. But you decide who gets it. This is where philosophy meets practicality. Create rituals of resistance. Read books made of paper. Write without posting. Walk without headphones. Speak without recording. Rest without guilt. These aren't just lifestyle choices, they're acts of rebellion. Because in a world that profits from your distraction, clarity is a revolution. And the clearest mind is the one that remembers the difference between tool and master. Between input and insight, between stimulus and soul. You don't have to abandon the world to find yourself. You just have to stop letting the world define you. And maybe that's the deepest truth of all. The self you're trying to reclaim was never really gone. It was just hidden, beneath the likes, beneath the noise, beneath the endless chase. And now you're being called to return. Not to who you were, but to who you've always been. Before the feed, before the branding, before the trap. You are not your content. You are not your metrics. You are not your algorithmically optimized identity. You are consciousness. You are presence. You are the only one who can choose what kind of mind you want to live inside. That choice is your greatest power and your deepest responsibility. Because in a world built to distract you, the most radical thing you can do is pay attention to what matters. So the question isn't how do I escape the digital trap? The real question is, are you willing to face who you are without it?